Abusianfo ne adofo mamo akwaba embra Coastal TV so we eye awia donkro kasebo na fafe na o join ya channel no eye 514 ye sanso ye wo Facebook and YouTube bomodin ase obe follow ye channels no ewo ho na wa like wa share link no e de amaye na se wo comment bi anso a ja ewo comment section no ase ye kan na se mwe wo ma ye de ebe ma o sane ese na efata na yemfa aseda ema yaboafo o maso ya se ema ewie don ko kasebo no ye de ebrel eye National Petroleum Authority ye sanso ye wo eye diesel gift shop and na Nesto Ventures Patmo Print and na the Taste Kitchen Services aboafo na so ya sen ema ye de ewie don ko kasebo ye de ebrel kasebo mi amedi animu amede brel no medin eye afiba esen enne no ensem bi a obete eye July 1 eye eda aban ede asi ho se eye National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving no enne so so no manpen John Dramani Mahama e de ensemfo bi eto omanfo enim sanso na EPA eye Environmental Protection eye Authority mpenfo aye ne se omudi nema bi ba begugu akwan mu a ebeboa ama nsu a asese ni nyina no ombetimi aye niye na yebekọ ne akwa mu Coastal TV Community Connect amanebo a ye ne coronation eye assembly member eboye no eno nso ye de amawo ama ewie wahu ne ekoso nyame adoma ifiada edi enimi sanso na edom kuma ewo mrahwebedwam eye minority in parliament ede nsembi akwama aban ene nkofo a nsuyiri efa wo mo a ama omo ho aka edwemu ye de ho asem so ebebrew na ye de wakwa kopiem no krakra ewo South Africa eye anti immigration protest na ekoso ewo ho no ye de nhihaya aban aye nyina nso no ye de abrew maka ne sa no na mesre se fe ubeje akonwa na watie nsema yade bei emu enchemu ene eye July 1 ana se 1st July eye edabia abanya oteso obaye no ye ne se jupe yede besi ho na yatudin se National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving nti eda we no yeda nyankopon ase ye wie nso a na yade srede yesu nyina no yesu ede agune so na ene sa dwumadie no ekọ so na ebra dwumadie no ekọ so asofo akukudam ahodo ekopie mu wo ho nananom ahemfo nso ekopie mu wo ho mrahwebedwafo eye member of parliament MMDCs ene omo kan ho nyina ene kabo mu dwumadie eye krabehwe pa na asofo preach wie no na omampen John Dramani Mahama eju ne so se ode na no di nsem ebeto omanfo anim na o kyerem se yepese oman ekonanim a enima bi wo ha eni se yesoto ne form kra na efa ne se obuo na efa ne se dignity ye kra ye mudie mu honesty no kra die de e wo se ye ma no edi enim kane pa se ye omanfo ne ye pese oman ne konanim de wei eye bibia wo se ye ma no edi enim na osanso eka eso aso se ye ba beda nyankopon ase anaso ye bompa ye no enye se bia ye refi enyime bia ekoso wo man ni mu nemum no Bible no kra kan se ade nyina mu no ye mfa aseda ema nyankopon.
To build the Ghana we desire, we must recommit ourselves to honesty, accountability, patriotism, compassion, discipline, respect for one another, and an unwavering commitment to the common good. As Proverbs reminds us, Proverbs 14, verse 34, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. Our economic recovery has been built upon discipline. It must now be sustained by integrity. It must be protected by justice, and it must be strengthened by our national unity. One of Ghana's greatest blessings is our unity in diversity. We speak different languages. We belong to different ethnic communities. We practice different faiths. We hold different political opinions, and yet we remain one people with one common destiny. Before we belong to political parties, we belong to Ghana. Before we identify with tribe or region or religion, we are citizens of one republic, Ghana. Our constitution binds us together. Our history unites us. Our future depends upon our ability to work together. And therefore, let us reject bitterness, intolerance, and division. Let us reject corruption and cynicism. Instead, let us embrace dialogue over hostility, service over self-interest, unity over division, and hope over despair. No nation has ever achieved greatness by allowing its differences to define its future. Today, I wish to speak directly to every Ghanaian. To our religious leaders, I thank you for your prayers and moral leadership, and I pray you continue to guide our nation with wisdom, humility, and courage.
Omanpen John Germany Mahama esanso edin kratwe ekọ ma tichiu emabunu a ewo Ghana ha sei na oche mu se eme anye se nkofo a yeye behwadefo nimum se yepese ye oman bapa na yeye daachen leaders papa de a ene na esefata se obia nso ede ne hoji bibia ekoso wo oman nimu se ne be ya yeyi di a ye hwehwe development ene se yebenya future leaders papa ewo oman mu ha sei no ebe ye bibia enye anokasa keke nimum actions and so ebe back.
To our young people, you are not merely the leaders of tomorrow, you are already shaping the Ghana of today. And so dream boldly, acquire knowledge, develop new skills, reject shortcuts, lead lives of integrity, avoid drugs, believe in yourself because your country believes in you. And to every Ghanaian, wherever you may be, remember that nation building is not the responsibility of government alone, as our preacher this morning said. Every act of honesty by every Ghanaian strengthens our republic. Every act of kindness by every Ghanaian strengthens our communities. Every act of integrity strengthens our democracy. And every act of service strengthens Ghana. I remain optimistic about the future of our beloved nation. Our recent achievements demonstrate what is possible when a united people place their trust in God, embrace responsible leadership, and commit themselves to disciplined effort. The foundation we are laying today are not simply for ourselves, they are for our children, they are for future generations who deserve to inherit a nation that is stronger, that is more prosperous, more united, and more than just the one we inherited.
Yes, wakasebono eso ewo ensem na ye nyina nim se koba ne se ye boye environment no eho ban dia oman ba bia ewo na sade se ewo se oye se ne be ya environment no eye nse no anaso enchima nso omoba omumre na ejuma ko ba ko ayeyi omo esi wo se omo na omo ndi animu na Ghana nyina no ye ndi omo achi no eye Environmental Protection Agency anaso authority omo na omo di sa dehubo no anaso sa amanebo no na sese ameno kase eye Chief Executive Officer Emma Environmental Protection Agency Mame Professor Nana Brown Creature ede ato omanfo ene Ghana fo nyina anim se enche bia no omodi niema agu akwan mu hihye agu akwan mu a eba beboa ema nsuwansu a yewo ewo Ghana ha se ya galamse ne ye etimi asese no ene indiscriminate dumping say ye to bola egu nsuo mu ne ade no atimi asese nsuo ni nyina no bibi efen say dredging omotete nsuo nimu no ebekoso pa enche omuwe nso ana desilting enso atwa so omuwe nso ana ennuo ni chemicals bi a ometimi de egu nsuo nim ama nsuo no ate na efe yetimi AUC anaso sese ekọ water processing companies no mumso kra na omadwuma enye din no saa hyehyɛ ni nyina no enche koso mame kluchi okasa no oka nsembi eka we ho.
EPA did a proof of concept with the technology to clean our water bodies, and that is proven. One challenge we also encountered is that the waters are not flowing, and so even if you treat the flowing river, it doesn't really flow because the rivers are choked or blocked with silt. So the first thing to do is to dredge and allow the flow, and then you can now apply the ironate nano copper to clean the river. That will remove the heavy metals, and it will also help with the turbidity levels. This will equally allow the Ghana Water Company to get good enough water to treat for our potable water that we need. From the EPA's assessment throughout the countries, we have also realized that most river paths are choked because of silt, sand that are in the rivers. We also see that some illegal miners, illegal other activities have diverted the river path through other areas. What EPA will do is not just to dredge the rivers, we'll do a whole engineering, allowing the rivers to flow to their source where they come from to where they need to go into the ocean eventually. There are wetland areas which has been also used up by our same people. So we need to also allow the wetlands to function. There are storage areas for these unused waters when it rains. We need to allow the wetlands to also function as part of our ecosystem. And that's EPA is going to ensure that is done. EPA will be collaborating with the land use and planning people or company to allow the waterways that have been blocked by houses and other built environments. So we allow, when it rains, water to flow to wetland areas, to river areas, and then eventually to the sea. And we believe that next year, this situation we are seeing now will not happen again in our cities and even in all towns in the country.
Sayaka insuo onho asem dia ene na yere intimi mfi eye insuyiri kese a esi wo Ghana ha sei eye enano adwada Monday ye twam ye insuo ya etoye Ghana fana bebia de obia enya ne chefa na emom babi ba konso a yebetimi akase hono insuyiri no ano ye din pa esin Ghana ha bebia no eye yankasa ye capital city eye Accra na se enkran no eho de insuyiri no in fact na eni edin na ano so edin enam sompo ema enipa bebre be se dumienu ne echiwe de sesi ameno kasa mpanfo che se omahwe wo mo nkwa bebre na so ena eprepra bebre na so na ayira yenhu wo mo echi kwan po ananso yenhu bebi mpo a yakwa kwahwehwe wo mo ewo ho adan bebre ene bubu ya sesi no kase no nkofo bebre da monten so a omu hu bebi a omudi omuchi ebeto echese akoye asefem sempa ewo eye Accra na se enkran krodua ni mu mafo bebre no mani ayo omo ntoto nkofo bebre kasa ejumako bebre kasa nipa bebre edo ma not mu a omo ka bi na nipa ko ba ko so a omo so ka bi eye edom kuma a ewo emrahye bedwam eye minority in parliament a ne odi omanimu eye owura afenyo Markins one ni mpanfo omo abomoden eye press conference ne omo kan ne se aban edi niema egu akwan mu na nka oye nhihye a wose oye kane a anka ebia we nyina no ama na emom no ni nyina mu no omo edom kuma a ewo emrahye bedwam de omo support ekọ edi ama nkofo a omo ho aka nkofo omo japade asese omo a omo adehye afiri mu nsem bia okaka we hu no so enie.
Today we find ourselves a nation in mourning. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, before anything else is said, we must pause. Behind every flooded street and every submerged home is a family whose world has been upended overnight. Tonight, somewhere in this city, a mother is sitting by a hospital bed, holding the hand of a child she nearly lost. Tonight, somewhere else, a husband is searching for a wife who has not come home. Somewhere, a father is standing in the wreckage of a shop he built with his own two hands over 20 years, watching everything he worked for float away in brown water. These are not statistics. These are our people. Ghana is still counting on its losses, and we fear that what we know today is only a fraction of what we still come to learn in the days ahead. To the families who have lost loved ones, to those keeping vigil beside hospital beds, not knowing whether their relatives will recover, to the traders and artisans and ordinary working Ghanaians who have lost everything they spent a lifetime building, We, the MPP minority, feel your pain. We are your neighbors, your relatives, your constituent too, and your grief is our grief. We hold you in our prayers tonight and in the days to come. But our compassion does not end with words of comfort. We make this solemn promise to every Ghanaian touched by this tragedy. We, the mighty minority, will use every tool of accountability available to us, both within this house and beyond it, to ensure that those whose negligence contributed to this disaster answer for it. Your losses deserve more than sympathy. It deserves justice, and the minority will not rest until you have it.
Sa nsemi na edom kuma ewo mrashebedwam ede eto omanfo no anim na sa yeba eye mfimfin mantam hase nso dia yenso ye ne echefa pa ewo sa nsuyiri hu adan ebubu nkofo ewu nkofo prepra a chese na wohwe a etwam dia kamia se nsuo no na one ye edi ne nyonyonyonyonyo ankasa na enra ewo mrashebedwam no eye interior minister Owura Muntaka Muhammad ede ne report eto omanfo akwakohyiemu wo mrashibedwam hono na ochiem se enema bebre na akoso ewo mfimfin mantem anan se enkanka Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly de in fact yankasa yehu ade na edan ya ebubu no keka boma be se 58 ene ne ebrosa nkofo ewu so de number no ewo ho ode ne nyina nso eto eye mrashibedwam enim.
Mention some information from Central Region that also happened last 2 weeks, which I have the details. In Central Region, Mr. Speaker, last 2 weeks, we had 58 houses that collapsed. And for those of us who are very familiar with Central Region and the kind of houses, because of the mud houses, some of them are the bricks, some of the houses were over 100 years old, but these were the districts and how they were affected. Cape Coast Metropolitan Assembly lost 20 houses. Gomoa is 2 houses. Gomoa West 1 house. AOB 2 houses. Aguna is 7 houses. Gomoa Central 1 house. Tufu Ahima Lower Dentra 6 houses. AAK 4 houses. Mfansiman 5 houses. Asin South 1 house. Asin North 7 houses, Efutu 2 houses. And Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, there too we lost 18 individuals as per the report that was sent to me. In Cape Coast, death by building collapse 5, death by drowning 1, Gomoa Central, death by building collapse 1, death by drowning 1, Mfansiman, death by building collapse 2, death by drowning 1, Tufu Ati Monkwa, that's TAM, death by drowning 1, Upper Dentre West, death by drowning 3, Aguna West, death by drowning 1, Upper Dentre East, death by drowning 2.
Wo favorite Coastal TV area donko kase bono echegu ewo ye channel no so eye channel 514 ye sounds ye live and colored ewo Facebook and YouTube bomodin say ube follow ye ube subscribe ye social media eye handles no se ne be ya bibia ye be wo fia bia say ye live program bia nso de ubenya ochefa ewo mu ye to kase bono eso na media asem de kra na mede bre we san say Coastal TV Community Connect Jumedie no yegusua yeguso so far yakọ mmia bebre ya ne omo akwakoye Community Connect no be bisam say efiede de mo kwan efiede yekọ eye coronation eho ene ne omanfo no ekọ akoto nsa na yabokosua atafre ewo ho nti bomodi an say obedi echi na update bia anso ayewo no ye de amawo ewo ho ye ne honorable member anase say assembly member ema coronation eye Owura ehwetwe enkomo enra OMAR bin ABDULLAH ewo nkomo boni na odebeboye
amede bia ye kechiro ya tiefu no Coastal TV Community Connect is about budget of to be nasema ho a office man to meet ogwa ye obodwo nkomo na ya hwekwana pa zo tumaro kodo etum na aboa nkankan of to be assembly members a wodnya wa etu ba etumi ba oya hemo pasere do dependa ba basene kwani kwa kan sa wa oya odum jaso ye nte Ghana Fire Service enda ya bebudu oya coronation oya electoral area ahọ na ebe budu eba mazene ya samu me tuma chunkomo na fi yetumi ehunu ne pasio no do no za otumoriye za ontumo nkwen za waye esiwa kwan waya hawkase etumi na zaman no eba mazene fi yetumi na ina chunkomo nti sese kese eba tun safra oye honorable oye Eko Filson ani assembly member wo oye electoral area ha ina bo chunkomo na fi yetumi na abwa ma ne dwumeze otumo ho otumi na abreye kemeto da kire na zamba afi beto bere no Benum busy assembly member. Zabutu Ababaya, and Kanka him and paying John Dramani Mahama, and Minado other allowance are busy. I'm not putting no more here, but in assembly member, I am watching come. They be a number do, Nimpuntu, and not more here. It's in there, in a Baba to come out there, this and there. Say to Bentine, our boy there, obey assembly member. And I'm good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
No matter how me. Yo, I'm about to canon, you'll be said there. Abazi no Ojo there. Our day assembly member, warrior community.
Yo, Madasi. What the can we take? What's here to me second term, me assembly member.
Okay.
In fact, Malamo when I read now, may be a mutu watch a me. So I wait maybe away with connection. I'm missing him. No more shot no more now. They make me mutu my because Malamo read mutu. Be away. I'm coming here. Mo confirm here. You people are saying. No, sir. I'll be previous to my predecessor, friend, Honorable Haruna. Not him could be lost. Not that. Or there, Mobana, Mosso, Nigma Power and the center Mamma, as I remember.
Yo, never notice that, and Penny Bienia, and Penny Bienia said to me, woman, you'd be said there. So the kind necessary to American, Abba sister is my marble community.
Oh, it's just a baby, no Abba. What's my first time? No, Mamma, there. In fact, now you my family be one dental. And I took it upon myself that no, I said, I'm share my sanity about young community. Me unit committee, connection for a boy. No matter what 8 or that for the other. In fact, it was very nice. Yesterday, no more recording. My family, you are there. But unfortunately for me, if you could change me, it doesn't mean no. Yesterday, the year the management didn't pay up here meeting here. Over promise to obey along the line. Then, Mama, you won't be dancing on Martin or Kufun. But at the same time, the Mumpasego also lighting system. Yeah, your management, mutuality was before. Wait to boreholing at machine behind them. So much no, why are you no meaning if you be say lawyer be me said no. Yet to borehole no one no for machine machine no pumping soon no toilet no use. I mean charge or do say your the pumping but 2 million. No me took them no them that's that. In so was so one again. It's mama your pipe. You do toilet one, then you have a chair on. It's not go Ubu soon be. The insurance should be able to supply toilet ma BBL code fine. Now up there Ekozonga one lighting system. Chow one kada biam bakado light be a day quickly. Mominji nebi or phone at the gym. Before we go for bomb kakra at Choko. Oh, my unit compete for bomb and for that matter connection boys and girls and so ye Juma what one was ye fine. Abana say ye communal labor ha. Well, what you about to baby? In fact, we put sort of bomb Sankasa, the mission in advance.
I mean, also maybe said, you shall pursue the 8 minutes home from where I shall saw him, no, could be him. Okay, be on the center of your community, another beer at me, don't to me, Papa. You'll be said there, pursue the usher saw him, no queer.
You must start to a connection junction, and the from Walk Street. You go for Gibby School. You do Gibby School, because offer a soda yogurt municipal. His son is good for the Papa Junction. It's about a bit connection junction bill. What person do not know?
So let me say that you show women here, I've read to my from our work on so here, this and so over home as in. If you were secondary school, another school in Yaza, I can have a bone.
In fact, school, I can one up a bone. So, what we call BC or bachelor. Sometimes we want to hand a worker children, but try the mom will be a masset. Mom will be. What do you catch you? No way, I do so. But unfortunately, no, get school no wahano. Why the way in the year? In fact, why are you with the baby? a sisi ami yo kesi weje yego ya bako school ni sa na ya ko so a ni mo pio ha mo fam so ho o de wo hwe na wo ya zinu wie mo fiwo na mo fam onyokan woni park bo wodo adalo we tin na zo wodo dan no me unit committee no onye connection fo ya ko park ndo ya ko fo tractor e ke sisi e do fine but ye wie ya o tun no wa use park o da yejuma anu so come you good ya junu you can see for me so if bi wa in fact problems kakaba you good ya junu e hwe me head me ya if you kasi bi wa the sunu fififom no ba nti ya yende na chi wo ngati bi na di wo odi tsini nyina afi wo ya me yaduma between this week to next week ya be dem ejuma no wo fi no sunu ba me ko wa koma won wa to won this is so am ha so mutame yo mo na ejuma sunu tonti na ye jai sunu tuwa yo me ejuma chechi wa ha ma bia so mutame ye ejuma kasa bia but just fine bia ko fine
Honorable community bi ha e bo ko na I say anke we ho ade anke ya e full ho ade na kisa it is dry here community ni security o jana na do another how
your community security wise mo kind of off and on simply because okay in the sense that mo like to know like so say a security like the most on your first mo like to nyama so baby say pe or report man na my family engineer come on yako adugo de ye waso but all the same no as kan kofu no na say me on chele bia wachi bi wa ha mo bena mbakono wa nyameza o nyameza da mo so a asore mo bo post farming je me za post fu be o bo share bi bia mo bo ka o but all the same no bi bia kwari farm wo ko mo chi
Wayne and Sama Ora Felson or assembly member Emma Coronation no or the two Coastal TV Community Connect team no enim. Yemfi hana efe yemohwi yemfa plane nko o mindful for so na yemfa ma hodo so sem emfa emro na me no kwa kopie mu ewo South Africa na ye nyina ebe kai ya dwuna America kra ewo ye chi no eye South Africa emma citizens of South Africa echemu se eye other African nationals abakrom ho o moye illegal immigrant ababeje o madwuma aboso nti adwuma ewo South Africa ni eye no obehwe na eye another Africans national bi na eye eno no emma omo enya adwuma enye nti se de ane na omo hyekete se obi a on free South Africa na onye South Africa ni ba ne de oma ne bag so na onko ne krom na obi anso nkoye ne kroye we ene nsema na South Africa ma no eka na we nyina nso no na oye kire enamu na ne ye brubi na ne ye hwibi na ne ye close nkrofo shops ene ade eye ekoye asem bi a ekoye dedwa wiasa fa na nyina na obi a eka ho asem ne santi no eye aban eye Ghana aban eye nhihye ma nyame adom nipa dodo na ayewo South Africa eye Ghana for dodo na ayewo South Africa de otimi di bebre na ebae bebre na nso na eka ekira na omo emaye enra 30th of June 2026 na eye deadline eye anti-immigration groups ewo South Africa no omo share se Ghana ni anaso se other nationals Africans no obia enko ni krom na onfri South Africa kra na onko ni krom na nesa no na enkomobo ekoso na nsemisanso ekoso se na akwakoba nesa na enra na eye deadline no oye cheke sei ekoso no ede enhyehyeye na Ghana ban tiche waya ebeboa ama Ghana fo a eka echi o mantimi ene first batch second batch no amba no sankofo no so ebetimi ababe cancer asundwem ewo Ghana ha sei abra ohawbia emachwe na emra owura Benjamin Kwashi ono eye Ghana High Commissioner ekwo South Africa okasa ewo interview mu no sei eno kai.
I think there's a coordinated effort between the Ghana High Commission here in Pretoria, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and the Office of the President in Ghana, so that we'll be able to repatriate the rest of the Ghanaian people who have voluntarily submitted their names that they want to come back home. During the whole of last week, myself and the Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, and also the Chief Director at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Ambassador Khadija, we've coordinated, and I can confidently tell you that plans are far advanced to bring the over 800 Ghanaians that are left who have willingly given their names that they want to be repatriated to Ghana. So the plans are far advanced. We almost done with the logistics so that they can also be evacuated back home. We're looking at very close to 900 people who have written their names and want to, remember we've done already 938, and so we're adding another 900 to it. And this, we believe, will bring all the number to finality. Those that have voluntarily asked that they should be repatriated, that is the numbers that we have. I believe that this June 30th day or deadline that is supposedly being given by groups of protesters who have taken the laws into their own hands, unfortunately, we've been told by the government of South Africa to ignore. But it's becoming very difficult to ignore, because when the government says one thing, these demonstrators say something else. And so what we're doing is to ensure that the Ghanaian community here in South Africa will be advising them on making sure that they don't find themselves in the crossfire on Tuesday, where we believe that the state should be able to provide security. I'm sure that you've heard that the South African police and also other private security agencies have been contacted by the government, who have spent a whopping 600 million rands to ensure that there's enough security during this process on Tuesday. And so we would advise the Ghanaian people, and the Ghanaian people have been very, very cooperative. They don't go to areas where we believe that the demonstrations will be right. They don't engage in confrontations with any of them whatsoever. And we've asked them also not to open their businesses on that day, so that we are able to forestall any deliberate attempts by anybody to say that perhaps it is that our people who did anything to warrant a reaction. So we're doing well on that as well. Well, from the directive of the minister, we have engaged the Department of Home Affairs in South Africa. I'm sure that you've heard that our people, compatriots from Malawi, almost 10,000 of them are being repatriated back home. So the whole setup of the Home Affairs Department, which are supposed to help us in clearing our people to travel, are dealing with that number, that huge 10,000 number. And so we couldn't have them last week to help us. We're hoping that by this week they should be able to finish up with whatever they are doing so that they come and help us. Unfortunately, yesterday in the evening when I had a call with the Honorable Minister, he wished that we were able to do the evacuations before the 30th of June. But from the South African side, it will be very difficult. And we don't want to be seen as people who are not grateful, because when we started, they have been there helping us through the screening processes. And I believe that once they told us that they are dealing with the Malawians, and once they are done with the Malawians, they will come to us. We're looking between next week, not Monday, not Tuesday, but within the week, once we decide, after we have confirmation from the Department of Home Affairs here in South Africa, we'll let the Ghanaian people know when they are going to be repatriated back home. Yes, of course. We've housed some of them. We wrote officially to the police indicating the whereabouts of them and asking that despite the heightened tension in the country, these areas should be protected, because these are not people who are here to foment any trouble. These are people we are grouping together to repatriate back to Ghana. That is what the March people want. That is what the citizens of South Africa want. So if we are doing that, I don't think that it will be so unfortunate should any of them try attacking any Ghanaian citizen at the locations where we are keeping them safely for the repatriation back home. Well, this has not been the first time that we've had this xenophobic attacks. This has not been the first time that people in South Africa have taken the laws into their own hands, disrespecting laid down rules and procedures, and harassing African migrants who are in this country. One school of thought wants us to believe that anytime there's an election, these things happen, and another school of thought wants us to believe that the South African people, unfortunately, are not willing to identify what the problems are, the challenges that they face as a country, and they seem to just, lay it at the doorsteps of fellow Africans who are here helping the economy to be better. 95% of the lands in South Africa are owned by minority white people. Jobs in this country, when it comes to unemployment, Black South African young people, 40-something% of them are unemployed. When you want to compare the number of unemployed white people in South Africa, you have less than 5%. So the real problem is not to do with any foreigner that has come in here. The real problem is for them to identify the challenges that are facing them as a country. And like President Mahama said, he thinks that it is time we all come up as African nations to help them. That is if they are willing to be helped. Because at the end of the day, there's a misplaced priority, there's a misplaced understanding of what the economic challenges that they are facing is, and I believe that it is a matter of time before they realize that when everybody in Africa turns against them, then they'll do an introspection and see that we meant well. We want to help them. How do we help them? By helping them identify what the main problems are about unemployment. It is every country in Africa, when there's unemployment issues, you don't lay it on other people. Governments do things that they are supposed to do to alleviate the plight of its people, especially young people who are unemployed. And I think that has been the challenge that we've had with South Africa. And we believe that in the coming days, weeks, we'll keep engaging them and see whether we'll be able to draw a middle line and for them to end these hostilities, unfortunate xenophobic attacks that they are having against our brothers and sisters from other African countries. Well, I think that the figures will be delivered by the Honorable Minister of Foreign Affairs, who is a leader of whatever we are doing. I think that in my last speech to the Ghanaian people, I indicated to them that these are unbudgeted costs that government had to fall on to be able to help in this process. And so when I hear people complaining that government is not doing this, government is not doing that, I've had to tell them that then we are being ungrateful people, because these things were not anticipated. And a listening government and a government that cares made sure they got money from whichever source that they have to get it to help the Ghanaian people who are in need. So in as much as I don't know the figures and I don't have the figures with me, I believe that there was a cost that government didn't budget for, but government had to fall on to help our people come back home. It's not only about the flight coming to Ghana, Accra. There are logistics. There are things that we do, providing accommodation for our people, providing medical care for our people, providing food for our people. And these are all costs that the Ministry of Foreign Affairs always have to bear these few weeks that we've had to deal with these xenophobic attacks in South Africa. But I think that we want to believe that South Africans would understand that other migrant Africans in this country have nothing against them. We believe that we can coexist. We believe that we can work together. We believe that if they allow the systems to work in South Africa, we won't find ourselves in where we are finding ourselves currently. We wish them well in the demonstration that they are going to demonstrate, but we want them also to know that the whole world is looking at them. They should channel their grievances, they should channel the problems that they are facing to the right authorities and not just find a leeway to put it on the doorsteps of innocent other African countries who are here working alongside them to make a living. I believe that
Ora Benjamin Kwashi and ye Ghana's High Commissioner to South Africa and yeteni kase ode aban enhihye waye ama Ghana fo a ewo South Africa sesia no ode eto omanfo anim na asemi so na yebegina na yede ewia donko kasebo ewo Coastal TV digital channel 514 Facebook and YouTube no so na yede ni nyina abano ewie dase se utimi enyabre na ohwe Coastal TV eye ewia donko kasebo no na me adoma ochina yebesanso ediahyem na emom no yemfa asida ema yaboafo eye National Petroleum Authority and Diesel Gift Shop yesanso ewo Patmo Print eye Nesto Ventures and the Taste Kitchen Services se omaso yasen ameyetimi ede kasebo no yede abreo midino eye afiba esianya me adoma echina yebesan ediahyia